And joining me is a man who has written about exactly this in the Times of Israel. He's actually an Australian, Jeremy Stode-Linder, a principal of Melbourne's Bielek College. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. You say in this terrific article, I urge people to read it, you're a Zionist principal of a Zionist school. Can you explain what Zionist means to you?
Sure. Look, thanks for having me on, Andrew. I really appreciate it. Being a Zionist is really an uncontroversial and uncomplicated concept. For thousands of years, there's been a Jewish presence in the land of Israel. Jews pray every day to Israel as an important part of its prayer. The Hebrew word for Israel is Zion in Jewish prayer, which is where the word Zionism comes from. So really, all being a Zionist means is the identification with Israel as a homeland for the Jewish people. And in context, globally, there are over 2.4 billion Christians, over 1.9 billion Muslims. There's 20 Muslim countries in the Middle East and North Africa, and globally there's just 15 million Jews. That's it. And all Zionism is an identification with Israel as a tiny slither of land, a third the size of Tasmania, for a small population, just 15 million, less than the population of New York is the global population of Judaism. And Zionism is just the belief in that land as a homeland for those people.
And don't forget, the nearly a quarter of the Israeli population are in fact Palestinians and Muslims. Now, what do you make? I'm sure you've heard it too. So many people on the left, so many protesters say, no, how dare you call us anti-Semites? We're anti-Zionists. Big difference. Do you believe them?
Well, I'm afraid the majority of the Jewish community simply doesn't accept that and doesn't believe that. It's like saying to a Christian, we're going to dissect part of your identity and faith and tell you what you should believe. It's like saying, hey, we're okay with Christianity, but not with Jesus. Or it's like saying to a Muslim, hey, we're fine with Islam, but just take out the Mecca and the Medina part of it. For Jews, for the majority of Jews, Zionism is an integral part of our identity, our culture, our practice, our belief, our prayer. We pray 3 times a day to about a return to Zion. We just finished the festival of Passover, which ended with next year in Jerusalem. It's an incredibly intellectually dishonest and arrogant statement to say that we allow you to be a Jew, but we don't allow you to be a Zionist. And the reality is, when the majority of Jews hear chants like, Zionists are not welcome here, Zionists out, what they hear, and we believe what is meant, is Jews are not welcome here, Jews out. And there is no place for that in 21st century Australia.
Well, I thought there wasn't, and I thought I'd never have to confront this. But how do you explain what you're seeing now, this Jew hatred in Australia?
Look, it's gone crazy. And I think what we're seeing is, in particular on student campuses, but also in city centres, in CBDs, we're seeing a cohort, and they are a cohort of people who think it's 1968, who think this is civil rights, who think it's Vietnam, and they see this as a very binary conflict. They're dressing up, they're cosplaying, and what this is, in my view, this is a hit job. This is a hit job by the far left and by radical Islam. And we know it's a hit job because when we look at the protests, if these were people that genuinely cared about values, human dignity, life, then where are they on Darfur? Where are they on Myanmar? Where are they on China and the Uyghurs? Where are they on the rights of women or LGBTQI people in the Middle East? Where are they on all these things when they only focus on Israel? And they don't just only focus on Israel, they completely ignore all those others, and they ignore Hamas. Hamas, which as a prescribed terrorist organization on October the 7th, murdered 1,200 predominantly Jewish Israelis, mutilated, raped, took hundreds of hostages. When there is no mention of that in these protests, then we know that these aren't protests just against an Israeli policy. This is anti-Semitism.
Look, I wish I disagreed with you, but I think every word gold. Jeremy Stode-Lindner, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it in these troubled times.